And away they go.
All right, Ayla Frog. All right, that's two sides of the same coin, or very different coins, rather.
Yep, on the one hand you have
Ayla,
the physical powerhouse of Ayla, and on the other hand you have the massive disappointment that it's the heal bot. I know one of our
very good at
runners.
healing.
One of our runners has an emote to do with this character, do they not?
Yeah, Procky has a strong opinion about our boy in the frog skin here. Not a fan, so I'm sure he is super excited about this run.
There we go.
There it comes up.
I knew someone would deliver when I mentioned it.
Yeah, he will do just about anything to not use Frog in his party.
So, both runners taking fairly standard routes at the start, checking various treasures and shops. Happens to be in the locality. You'll see the runners picking up lots of tabs as well. For those not in the know, tabs in Chrono Trigger increase your power, magic, or speed by 1. And the most important of which is definitely speed, as that caps at 16, so 1 is quite a big increase.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing is they're going to be checking a couple key items right at the start. I assume, have already changed their battle speed to whatever they're going to play on. And right now, the biggest thing they're going to be doing is trying to gear up as far as medicines and tonics and ethers and everything go, so that they won't have to go shopping in the middle of something later, if they can avoid it.
Yeah, and they're also going to be looking for that first tech to get them through a couple of the slower fights, for example the Nagaets in the Cathedral. And yes, we have seen our first key item. We know the clone is at the snail stop check. You won't see people buying that straight off the bat very often, because it is nearly half of your starting money.
Yeah, also with something like the clone, it's half of what we call go mode, but they may not get the other half at any point during the run. They would probably go back for that later if they find that other part, which is... why don't you talk about the go mode flags on that?
So for that method, it's actually 3 key items you need for the go mode there, because you also need access to the future via the pendant. But you will get the Chrono Trigger and the clone to gain a way to end the game via the Black Omen. Other methods are to get both pieces of the Masamune and Frog, who helpfully they already have, and go through Magus's castle, pick up a ruby knife somewhere, and get into the Ocean Palace. And speaking of items...
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a big change right there. That changes this route pretty significantly.
Taco with the big shiny gate key. So that will give our runners access to the prehistory period, from which they can instantly go and get magic. So most of our characters here, I believe 4 of the 7, are gated to only 3 techs at the start, unless they unlock magic. So they're going to want to go ahead and get that as soon as they can. Plus, there's a very nice grind spot in prehistory at the reptile there.
Absolutely. And if you've got a good, strong team, you can definitely go for that early, and it'll be interesting to see if either of the runners go for that. So now they're in Market Fight. Market Fight is pretty interesting, and it's very dependent on your characters. A lot of the teams are not going to have any trouble defeating this big guy with the mace here, but other teams that have lower damage output, it can be a big problem, because you need to win this fight to get tech points and XP so you can start learning your first tech.
Yes.
So we see Taco going to do Xenon Bridge, just talking to this guy to set up Xenon Bridge fight later. That starts the quest, and so that'll save him some time later on. It looks like he is going to go to Cathedral first. Looks like they both are.
And there in chat is the response that the JOT command is supposed to give you. We will try and get that fixed for next week.
Alright, so here, this fight, if you can get an AoE, they almost always will grind to get it, because this fight can be rather slow otherwise.
Yes, indeed, you need something very shiny. So I believe these enemies have, is it 60 or 65 HP? So Ayla can probably one-shot them. Frog definitely cannot.
With a crit, he might be able to.
No.
Oh, nope. No.
Just no.
Not at all. Alright, so now we're going to find out who the third character is. It is Chrono.
It is a Chrono indeed. The MVP, the main character. And actually not that good in the rando at the moment. But anything is a bonus, I suppose. Yes, the frog is going to croak at some point. So we're likely, I think, going to see both of our runners here go through the cathedral. There's a bunch of treasures to grab, a few fights to grind on, and of course the boss at the end. So why does Chrono stink in the rando? He doesn't stink. He's still better than Frog. Unfortunately, his dual tech, so the techs where he cooperates with other characters, aren't amazing. And if you go through the game and you've not had Chrono in your party for the entire game, unlike in Vanilla, you realise really quickly that Chrono's not actually that strong. He's just normally very over-leveled.
And he definitely needs good gear, which is hit or miss when it comes to the randomizer, of course.
Oh yes, get him a rainbow, his ultimate sword, and Bulls be dying all day.
Alright, we've got Taco getting the Nagaet Bromide, and Procky grabbing it right now. So this is actually pretty close so far.
And take a spot of advice from your commentary team here. If you don't know what a Nagaet Bromide is, don't look it up. Preserve your innocence. However, in the game it translates to a free power tab, magic tab, and speed tab. So, you know, very nice for our runners. So our ultimate weapon's randomized as well. So, the weapon stats themselves are not randomized, but their locations are. You could find things in shops, in chests, and even as drops from enemies, or I'd say steals, but it's not really steal in this, it's charm. Yeah, all of those ways of acquiring treasures, weapons, equipment, shiny consumables and stuff. That's all random, as is the location of key items and the locations of characters. So in terms of characters, go on.
Well, I was going to say, we're already seeing a slight deviation here. Taco skipping the extra loot on the right side of the cathedral dungeon, and Procky heading for it. And so it'll be interesting to see if there's some good drops over here that might make it worth the extra time for Procky.
Indeed. So for newcomers to the randomizer, the characters are always in the same locations, it's just which character is there that changes. So you always start with 2. Your third, this is in a normal flag set, we do have a couple of optional different ones. But for this, your third character is at the start of the cathedral, and it's free. You just fight the Nagaets and you get your third character. Here it was Chrono. Then, at the end of this sequence, you get a 4th character from Guardia Castle. Then your other characters are in Frog's Burrow, his little house in the woods at 600 AD, in the Dactyl Nest in prehistory, and in the Protodome in the future.
And depending on the key items you get, it may take you some time to be able to get to the future or to prehistory. This run, the prehistory one, is not going to be an issue. But Dactyl Nest can be a hard, long dungeon. I don't know that we'll see it taken by either of these runners today.
I have a feeling we will, because they're not going to be happy with their characters here.
Well, it'll depend who they get after Cathedral as well.
Very true. So those other 3 characters, they are gated by items. For Frogsborough, you need both parts of the Massamune to go and reforge it, which is nice and easy, thankfully. Because Melchior will make it for you with some spare Dreamstone he just had lying around. As mentioned, for the Dactyl Nest you need the Gate Key to access Prehistory, and for Protodome you need the Pendant to access the Future. Just to clarify, the Pendant does not get you access to me, it's the time period of the future. I don't want anyone coming at me with a pendant being like, "Hi, can I come into your house now?" My word, Dinotail Strat's already. Procky, please. First, you don't
Dinotail
know.
is a...
Yeah,
I was going to say Dinotail's a very interesting ability or tech for Ayla here. It's based off her missing health, the damage it does, so it can be incredibly useful if you happen to drop low in health. We see Taco fighting Yakra, the first boss for most runs of the rando.
So did I just see a Vault Bite or whatever it's called from Taco?
You did.
Okay, the first instance of a dual tech there. So if anybody does have any questions at all while we're running through this about the rando or the game in general, or you know what, pretty much anything that comes to your mind, feel free to ask in chat. We will do our best to answer you, and if we can't, I will find someone who can.
I see a lot of familiar names in chat, so there are plenty of people who know what they're doing here to help answer as well.
If only there was someone who knew what they were doing behind the microphones.
Alright, so we have opposite ends of this room going on. On the left side, Taco finishing off the Cathedral dungeon, and Procky just getting to that final boss. This is very tight, though.
And Taco making the right decision there, leaving the Chancellor in his box where he belongs.
Now we're going to find out who character number 4 is, and I bet you we might not see Frog or Chrono here in a second, depending who it is. Oh, it is Luca. Let's see if Taco decides to swap her in.
Yeah, Luca is going to go into every party.
Especially with Ayla by her side. And Frog sits on the bench. Alright, yep. We got Procky finishing up the boss.
I only just noticed the Wonder Shot. Yeah, that's a thing. Getting the Wonder Shot with Luca as the castle character, that's gonna be spicy.
Yeah, that's... I didn't catch if Taco equipped that. I'm not sure.
Yep, you looked away and he got a Wonder Shot.
Yep.
So Taco going straight to the past, not the future, the other thing. Time is hard.
He's probably going to go get Luca magic at the end of time.
Yep, that's exactly where he's heading to. So once you get into prehistory, you end up at the bottom of that little mountain after a small fall. All you have to do to go get your magic is run around and go back up to the top and yeet yourself off, and you end up at the end of time. And then you go and talk to Specchio. Yakra dropped Wonder Shot.
And in this instance, that's going to get us the first 3 techs on Luca, which can be very powerful.
I'm hoping...
Also allow them... Like, Oh, go ahead.
I'm hoping for Protect, Flame Toss, and Napalm for the first 3 techs.
Well, that would be unfortunate.
Depends on your point of view. So we have our first big divergence though. Procky has ditched Chrono and taken Frog.
That's surprising. We almost never see Procky with Frog.
And of course, on goes the Wonder Shot. Spot of equipping going on for Procky. Meanwhile, Taco chooses not to fight Specchio. Some people don't like magic tabs, apparently.
Yeah, Frog Flare is probably a big part of why Procky kept Frog and Luke on his team. It's a very powerful dual tech that uses Flare from Luca, and the other one is based off of Frog's HP, similar to Dinotail that we talked about with Ayla earlier. So it can be a very powerful tool in the right moments.
So another divergence here. Procky isn't going for Past right now. He's going for Xenon Bridge. And we'll find Dreamstone as the key item there. One of the key items for one option for game mode as it happens. So
that is a big divergence.
Yep, the Dreamstone route requires the Gate Key, which they already have, the Dreamstone, which Procky already has, and a Ruby Knife, which I'm sure they'll find somewhere.
But real quick, he has to go through a quick battle gauntlet. But I think he will be plenty strong to take it on.
Yeah, I hear the enemies around here have a bone to pick with him.
Oh no. Is this what I signed up for?
Yep. And shoutouts to the quote-unquote boss, who is not depicted biting the head off a bat for a change.
I always thought Ozzy was a really fun character myself.
Ozzy is goofy. We like him.
Yeah.
And for these
he's
for these forced fights on the bridge, by the way, you do not need to fight the skeletons. All you have to do is bop Ozzy 3 times and away you go. And we have a flash out.
Oh yeah.
So clearly Flare is in play. Yep, there it is. I believe it was tech number 3 for Luca. Which means that Taco has it and Procky doesn't. But it does mean he'll get it eventually. Yeah, Moonblaze is making a valuable point there. So the fight Taco is currently in, one of the better grind fights in the early game if you have access to it, is pretty simple to clear with any AoE magic ability really. You can use something that wipes the screen like a level 2 elemental spell, or if you wait a little bit for things to group up, you can use things like Mega Bomb, Area Bomb. I'm quite a fan of Napalm. That deals with it rather nicely for me.
Alright, we have Procky starting the battle against Zombor.
Hopefully it won't be too zomboring.
This is a really good team for this fight, as far as having Ayla. Ayla just makes a lot of these early bosses much easier.
Especially when Ayla has a Wonder Shot. And can just casually do 500 plus damage on what is actually a very weak boss. As you see, the top part is already down.
Top half.
So a couple of quirks with this fight. If you kill the top half first, whoever gets the finishing blow on the top half will lose all of their MP. If you kill the bottom half first, as another famous skeleton in video gaming would say, you're gonna have a bad time.
I have double checked, and it does appear that the right runner names are over the right gameplay, as surprising as that is.
Give me some credit. Good lord. I'm tired. I'm not an imbecile.
We've got Procky trading his Naga bromide for those tabs we talked about earlier.
Free treasure.
It'll be interesting to see where he goes next.
Well, I would assume with the gate key, it's also Procky's turn to go and get magic now.
Looks like you were probably right.
Yep, that looks like where he's going. So to get to prehistory, before you've gone there on the epic, you head into this little house in Medina, you eat the cake on the table if you're hungry, and you jump into the wardrobe, because, JRPGs.
Thanks, C.S. Lewis.
I don't remember seeing his name in the credits for this game. Hang on a minute. We must be playing different translations, that's all.
It could be.
So if you're watching and you're enjoying what you're seeing, and you think you should give it a go yourself, feel free to hop on over to our Discord server, where you can get involved, get a link to the randomizer. You can ask any questions you've got in there. You know, there's plenty of people who will help you out with your first runs if you want it. We do have a little tournament coming up sometime next month, so that should be very fun, and hopefully we're going to be having this here weekly race every week, and weekly race, I suppose. So hopefully you're going to see more and more runs of Jets of Time on Randomania. But if you do want to see more runs, and you don't want to wait a whole week, why not follow our runners? And if you're weird and that way inclined, follow our restream team as well. I know that all 5 of us involved tonight stream this quite regularly, so I can pretty much guarantee you some fantastic Jets of Time action.
Absolutely. I think you can find somebody running almost every night of the week. Alright, so he does have magic now. I think it's going to be interesting to see if he makes the same decision as Taco and goes to Reptite Lair.
Wow, we have identical menuing right now. And identically
We really
leaving the
do.
menu. Impressive. A little bit proud of our boys.
I wonder if there will be a difference in grinding at the beginning of Reptite Lair because Procky chose to go ahead and do the bridge.
Potentially, probably less fights needed. It looks like Procky's taking this fight as well, whether intentionally or not remains to be seen. And Taco coming up to the Nizbel fight. Want to explain the quirks of Nizbel?
Nizbel, like a lot of the dinosaur enemies in the game, his defense is lowered by hitting him with lightning attacks, like Chrono, our friend here, uses. Unfortunately, after some time, he decides to discharge that back at you, and so you do want to be a little bit careful and cognizant of that.
However, Nizbel is quite a low HP boss in the grand scheme of things. A bit of lightning and a couple of high-powered abilities is probably going to take him out. Don't prove me wrong, Nizbel. Don't do that to me.
Hey, he's been really working out for this fight. I think he's been training all weekend, too. But here comes that discharge we talked about. So it's going to hit all of them for a pretty good amount of damage. So we don't want a whole lot of that to happen.
Oh, that's interesting. I've only just noticed on Procky's screen. Where's Ayla?
Oh. No, he swapped Ayla out now. Yeah, I didn't notice that.
That's an interesting play. We'll have to see how that one turns out. Ayla, of course, is a big damage dealer in the randomizer. But I guess maybe there was something about Chrono that was liked.
May have been just for the electricity, or for the lightning damage.
Possibly, yes.
Some
that
of
would
the
make
enemies
sense.
and Nizbal.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Getting through the Nizbal fight without it could be a bit of a crunch. You'd basically be relying on Luca. Well, Nizbal down for Taco. What he ends up with as his due reward. It is a Chrono trigger, and they know where the clone is.
He knows. Yeah, I was going to say, he knows where the clone is. I wonder if we're going to see a Black Omen. But they still need access to the future.
Yep, they still need a shiny necklace for that. So we're going to be seeing some more checks done, I think. Looks like Taco's going to be finishing up that Xenon Bridge area right now. As Procky is being given the business by a dinosaur. Indeed, Taco is about to find out about the Dreamstone. No, Game Boy. No, we won't. I have informed...
I'm sure...
No. I have informed both of our runners tonight that I want them to get world records in this, because I want an early night.
Frog versus cat race. What Varchild says.
I think we're going to see Ayla coming back in after Nizbel.
I do too. I'd be surprised if we didn't. Oh, now we've got Taco doing Xenon. He's going to get through that Zombor fight pretty quickly with the extra XP he's gained. So these dinosaurs, the one that Procky's fighting, these guys can be pretty scary for new runners, because if you don't have electricity to stun them, they can do a lot of damage to your team. Luckily, that's going to work just as well.
No, I'm sorry. The dinos are fine. The one you want to watch out for are those nasty winged apes.
Oh, yeah. They can be pretty rough, too. Rocky executing that skip to get past that winged ape very easily. That is one that I had a lot of trouble getting down. Alright, pulling lapises from some of the enemies in this area too, and that is going to help Procky out quite a bit. I'm sure Taco has those as well. But those are a 200 health each full party heal, so those can be incredibly useful in a pinch.
And in an extremely difficult situation, they are also 5,000 gold a pop to sell. Not that I have ever resorted to selling lapises, you understand. So, we have a boss fight on each screen, we have Nizbel on the right, and Zombor on the left. We've seen both of them before. We know what they can do.
If I remember correctly, I think you had a run where you did sell some lapises to buy a weapon that you then pulled in the next dungeon. Do I remember that correctly?
That wouldn't surprise me. I've also been known to sell them for Mega Elixir money. But Mega Elixir money is always nice. Look, sometimes there is a good reason. Confused with a wood sword, yes. The ultimate BM. I'm gonna hit you 4 times, but it's for like 2 HP each time. Have fun!
I mean, if someone ran up to me on the street and hit me with a wood sword, I would be confused.
But you wouldn't be dead.
That's
Most
true.
likely. Alright, so Zombor succumbs. Well, the bottom half of Zombor succumbs to a flare for Tekko, and Nizbel is being treated to one right now for Brocky.
Yeah, I do not think Nizbel is going to last a whole lot longer in this fight.
Nope, and we have Tekko grabbing the tabs from the bromide. We might actually be just about equal between these two runners in a moment. By the way, a big welcomes to anybody who's here for their first ever Jets of Time race. This is only our second weekly race, so thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you're enjoying yourselves. Don't forget, any questions, just ask. But remember, we love you.
Oh, and there goes Nizbel down for Procky.
Yep. So as soon as he gets out of prehistory, they'll be about on par, these two runners. Taco checking Melchior's shop, his house rather than the fair. So an interesting thing to note for anybody who's looking at starting this run as a new runner. If you go over to the Millennial Fair in 1000 AD, the Melchior shop there is guaranteed to have a decent, not top tier, but a decent mid-tier weapon for each of Chrono, Marl, Luca, Robo, and Frog, as well as shelters and revives, all very useful items. And if you go and try and buy a pile of shelters and revives, you will find yourself very surprised, as their prices have been increased quite heavily.
I actually played vanilla Chrono Trigger with my girlfriend last night and was shocked at how cheap revives and shelters are in that game, in the vanilla game.
I'm just shocked you have a girlfriend.
Oh, it looks like we are going to see Dactyl Nest coming out for Procky, looking for a replacement for our frog friend, I believe.
I'm not sure we're looking for a replacement for Frog because he has Ayla.
Maybe he's looking to unlock some more checks with Robo or Marley. Oh, this skip is... Oh, and he nails it.
Nice.
That skip is like pixel perfect, and he is very consistent at it.
Yeah, I am not.
No. I got it once, as I told stream I was not, like, that there was no chance I was going to get it. I got it.
To be fair, I very rarely come to the Dactyl Nest these days. I try and get by with just the starting characters as far as I can. Maybe Protodome, maybe the Frog's Burrow, but this one just takes a long time to get. So unless you know...
Robo.
Yeah, unless you know it's good.
I've been doing Medina Redeemed runs, and for those, a lot of times I end up having to do Dactyl Nest to get the characters I need.
Alright, Taco facing off against Hecarim. Another of those bosses with a little quirk, because a lot of the bosses in this game are. Hecarim will not take much, if any, damage from physical abilities. You've got to hit him with magic. And that is exactly what Taco is doing, throwing out the flares like they're going out of style.
And then we see Procky heading to the desert, which will get him a key item, but it requires Robo.
To complete the check, it requires Robo. I think you can go into the desert and clear it without him. I'm not certain on that.
Correct. You can, absolutely.
So you can come get your shiny
to get
treasure.
Your key item.
Yeah, for the key item you need Robo to ditch him at Fiona's house.
And there is a lot of gear or chests in here, a lot of loot to be had. So it is well worth the trip here in many cases. And there goes Hecarim on Taco's screen, which will get him a key item as well.
Let's see, does Taco get the soft block of doom? Nope.
No.
Very nice. The first time I got the soft lock there, that was an interesting experience for me.
Ooh, it's the ruby knife.
The ruby knife indeed. That means Taco is in go mode. So there's a thought for you. If he wanted to, if he felt confident doing so, Taco right now could go to prehistory, go to the Black Tyranno's lair, take out the Tyranno, and go through to the Ocean Palace. Apologies for the minor loss of resolution on his stream there. Twitch gonna twitch.
Now, I find it interesting, we also do know where the clone is. Which means if they did get access to the future, say the desert has the pendant, it would be possible to go the other go mode.
So, here's one for you. Would you rather fight Zeal 2 or Lavos?
I think Zeal 2... It really depends on your team, because the path to Zeal 2 has many difficult or what can be challenging bosses on the way. Some teams can struggle with more than others. If I had my choice of just the boss, I would pick Zeal 2 every time. But with Black Omen and Ocean Palace and the Lavos fights all taken into account, I think I would go through Ocean Palace if I had the choice.
Fair enough. Well, we'll see what our runners decide upon. I don't think we're going to see Taco running around too much hunting for the clone, the pendant rather. Since he's already in prehistory and looking definitely dinosaur bound.
Absolutely.
It is a bit of a trek through the Tyranno lab. I'm sure he'll get there eventually. You have to think about that one.
That was bad. That was bad.
Well, I was proud of it, and that's what matters, really.
We should see the end of desert here shortly. It'll be interesting, I think, to see what key item lie on the other side of it.
Bit disappointing we didn't see anybody try and take out the eye first. It's always what you want to see in that fight, right?
That was definitely me my first couple runs.
Ooh, a blue mail is a drop from there. That would be very useful if facing Zeal 2. And a third eye from the chest that is less useful.
Black vest, however.
Some actually quite useful things in here. Including the Doom Finger! One of my favouritely named weapons for Robo. So, it's time to say goodbye to Robo, everybody, for about 20-30 seconds or so. And then you're going to see two Robos on your screen.
But one of the Robos is a tractor, so that doesn't count.
I think both Robos are attractive. That's what you said, right?
Oh no.
Robots are people too.
I just hate when your friend turns into a tractor and has to just do yard work for the next 400 years.
I mean, he offered. He has nobody else to blame.
That's true.
A Hyper Ether in a chest for Taco. That could be very useful, especially with a flaring Luca. And look at the encounter skips there. Good grief.
Oh, we do have a pendant on Procky's screen.
Ooh, this could be interesting then, because he knows where the clone is.
He does. Oh, he's gonna do Hecarim.
Yeah, it's not going to matter in a minute. Okay.
Yep. There are instances where people would choose Black Omen over the Ocean Palace. In fact, I think that was one decision that was different that Moon did last week in his race. He went Black Omen, and it did pay off for him.
So it is worth noting that if Procky is going this route and through the Ocean Palace, Taco is currently, I'd say, 5 or 6 minutes ahead. However, never forget that in Chrono Trigger and in Jets of Time, there is the Great Leveler that is the final battle. Because you can go in there with the best plan in the world, the best equipment in the world, and just get dunked. Sometimes, if Lavos decides your time to die has come, then there's not much you can do, unfortunately. So, Nizbal 2 on Taco screen. Yep, Angarel's got it right there. Double snipe by the arm boomerangs.
That is one of the saddest things that can happen to you as a new runner or an experienced runner, is when they both decide to hit one person and it's the one character they would have been able to kill. It just makes you sad.
Especially if it's the character with healing or life.
Absolutely.
And
we do see both teams using Chrono and Luca at this point.
Yeah, and speaking of healing, Taco's not really going to have any. Procky has Frog, who has the best party heal in the game in the form of the heal ability. Taco has Kiss and Life.
And items. Items can make a huge difference in some of these runs.
If you can afford them. Chrono? No, Chrono.
So do you find Nizbal 2 to be any more difficult than Nizbal 1?
Purely by virtue of the fact that Nizbal 2 has more HP and thus takes longer to kill. Not more difficult, just more annoying because you have to throw more ethers for your flares.
That's true. There he goes. And we have Procky going to get his key item. Let's see if he gets stuck in the...
Nope, soft block skill
Nope.
achieved. An alloy blade for Taco, that might replace Chrono's weapon if it's better. As Procky
And
hits
there's
go
his
mode.
ruby knife. So we've got Taco with his whole team around level 20. Typically, I believe most runners will want to be at level 28 or 29 when they hit Lavos. At least to that level. The requirements for Go mode. For the route that they're taking, which will take them through the Ocean Palace and to Lavos, you need to have access to the Dark Ages, as well as Dreamstone and the Ruby Knife. To gain access to the Dark Ages, you need to either go through Magus's Castle or Tyranno Lair, which is where both players are right now. There is another Go mode, and Futures typed it out there in chat, that requires access to the Future, Clone, and Chrono Trigger, and it will lead you to Zeal 2, which is a completely different end boss, and we do have a flag set that makes her count as the final boss and end of the game when you win.
Ooh, Taco getting the Megasaur skip right there. Very tasty skipping those two fights on the bridge. Not difficult fights, just potentially lengthy. You've got to watch that flare animation a couple of times. And a power ring and a lapis from the chest in Azala's room. That's pretty tasty. But soon we're going to face the Black Tyranno itself. So here's one for you. What ability does the Black Tyranno use after you count down?
I believe it's a random ability out of a pool. But I have definitely seen him use some strong spells.
Yep, I have seen Hexagon Mist. I think I've seen Flare at one point. I've definitely seen Energy Release, and that was an unpleasant experience, let me tell you. But, as Game Boy points out, it is barbecue time for Azala and the Black Tyranno. Hopefully less so for Taco's party. Ooh, Dark Matter, that would suck. Especially with Chrono in your party.
Yeah, I've definitely seen Luminaire from him as well. And that one was surprising to me.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping he would rise up in the air a few feet.
Well, no, because then you'd die from the earthquake. It's a massive red T-Rex.
Oh. Yeah, that's true. That bridge probably wouldn't support him jumping too much.
However, I'm not too worried. With the runners we have on screen, I think we're going to see the T-Rex get T-Wrecked.
I believe so as well. This boss can be tricky especially if you go in lower level than you're used to fighting it. Sometimes, if you don't take him seriously, he will make you pay for it.
Meanwhile, I'm sat here scratching my head at why Procky decided using a fire-based ability on the volcano enemies was a good plan. I think we may have seen a tactical error there.
I can't say anything. I'm always hitting bosses with stuff I didn't realize they were immune to.
Don't fight fire with fire. All you'll end up doing is burning down the house. And if you get that, you listen to good music, and I like you, chat.
Alright, we're about to see Nizbal 2 for Procky.
And the Tyranno here is counting for Taco, down to 4.
He's a little bit lower level than Taco was at the same point. Gonna definitely have to be careful in this fight.
No, Mildane, you should not fight fire with fire. You clearly fight fire with gasoline. How do you not know that?
I don't think we should be giving that news.
Yeah, PSA, don't do that thing I just said. It's bad. So the ether's being thrown out very quickly for Taco, trying to keep up the MP for these powerful techs. Let's not forget that... oh, never mind. Tyranno's dead. A Mega Blast and a White Mail is rewarded. Ayla learned Char.
And a lot of levels.
And we know that Ayla already knows Dragon Tail, so we might be about to see the Strat TM.
Yeah, that was very good for him. Now this animation... Oh, go ahead.
Chamel, I'm going to let someone in chat answer that, if that's okay, because I would be here all week trying to explain.
I'm sure Angarel might be able to help out with that. So now Taco, after this cutscene, will have access to the Dark Ages, and that means he can go through Zeal and begin the Ocean Palace, which has a few sections to it, and then we will see the Lavos fight. So this really is towards the way to victory.
We did remember to tell Taco.
49 minutes.
We did remember to tell Taco that if he doesn't fight the 6 news, his run's invalid, right?
Oh, I knew there was something I was supposed to tell him.
Oh, hey, the command works. Thank you, Crimson. You're the best. We love you. Shoutouts to Crimson Avix and Game Boy F9, who do amazing work for the Randomania Network and are the reason we are here right now. So, cheers.
Alright, we have Taco checking the store in the Earthbound Village. And not really finding too much he likes, but he is going to take the opportunity to sell the items he's not going to need, so that he'll have some gold, perhaps for the good store coming up.
Yeah, potentially counterintuitive there, selling your wallet to try and get money, but video game logic, I suppose.
Alright, we're going to see him head straight towards Zeal, and he is at an incredibly good pace right now. Both runners are.
Yeah, it could be a very, very quick race. I mean, the record is what, around 1 hour 32, I think?
Somewhere in that ballpark for sure. And we don't have a lot of game left if the fights go well. This could potentially be world record.
And what a place to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Not to jinx anybody, of course.
You know they're all dying to Lavos 3 times now because you've said that, right?
Yes.
You've caused the pain that's coming.
I'm just really good at causing pain. What can I say?
He's not wrong there.
Not as good as when Angarel rolls the seeds, though. Oh, we did see a reset on Procky. That boss was not going well.
How long has this round though been out? I think we're approaching a year, maybe? Maybe a bit longer
I think
if you
we're
count
approaching
wings.
Around a year.
Yeah, we could be seeing a little bit of a problem in a lack of items and consumables. Money can be a bit tight in this game.
Especially when you're at... I was going to say, especially when you're at pace this quick, this early, where you haven't done that many checks to earn money.
Especially since Taco has now gone past the last shop.
Alright, Procky heading back into that Black Tyranno fight. Let's see if things go a little better for him this time. Alright, here we see Taco entering the Golem fight. Golem is one of those parts of the game where new players to Chrono Trigger in general can have a lot of trouble with this boss because he tends to retaliate with whatever you've hit him with last. And he can hit pretty hard, so equipment is hugely helpful in this fight. And if you like this fight, just wait till you see the sequel.
Oh yeah, the sequel is definitely better. I think a 3-call would probably kill it though.
It would.
Though they do have Luca, which means my favourite strat is a possibility for the Golems 2 fight. But I'll discuss that when we get to that fight. I don't want to spoil it for you right now.
Rocky just trying to deal consistent damage to that Tyranno, while Taco tries to finish off that Golem. Again, we have a boss battle on each screen. That seems to be pretty consistent.
Yeah, very little difference between the two runners. Potentially we could see both recording a sub 130. It's possible.
It's possible. Really, it's going to depend how Ocean Palace goes and how they decide to do grinding there.
I'd say 80 to 85 now, Game Boy. I think 75 is a bit short. Because we are, as clearly just said, probably going to see some grinding happening on the stairs in the Ocean Palace. Let Golem go bye-bye for Taco. As Tyranno keeps going raw for Rocky.
Just like my uncle at Thanksgiving, the golem burps and leaves immediately.
I'm not sure whether that's funny or sad.
Yeah, that's about how most things I say are.
Fair play. Well, 8 shelters left now for Taco. He's got the healing at save point. And just whether he can keep the party going in battle is the real question. Tyranno down for Procky on the way to that go mode. Well, to that palace, rather. Go mode is kind of in the past right now. You can't really be on your way to the past. Oh wait, yes you can. This is a time travel game. Though there is nothing in the past of prehistory, so it's as far back as you can go.
Alright, we have a prediction command now for the over-under. I'd love to see what people vote on that.
Glad you can see it. Imagine having the stream open, I don't know.
Oh no, I just have chat open.
Aha.
And Ocean Palace, once you learn Ocean Palace and you figure out the route you like for it, it's not terribly long, but we just saw an amulet drop, I believe. And Taco's going to go back for another one. He liked that amulet so much, he'd really like another.
Oh, and as Twitch has just informed me, apparently streamers and mods can't cast a prediction in the channel they manage. Well, rip. I tried. When you watch this back, Taco, I tried to put good money on your time being low. And by good money, of course, I mean good channel points. So, Procky's stocking up on those ethers and considering some Rainbow Helm.
And Taco is stocking up on those pendants and getting one more.
I hope you mean amulets. If he's finding multiple pendants, something's gone
Yeah.
wrong in the code.
Yes, I meant amulet.
It's fine, at least you didn't call them ribbons and get the wrong franchise.
Ooh, a gold earring. I don't know that he's going to use that with 3 amulets under his belt.
I mean, I think the play is use the amulets for shell and then slap the earring on. And
That's
the earring
a big drop.
The earring is going to come into play in the next couple of minutes. I'm fairly sure.
That was a big drop as well.
I may have missed it.
Vigil cap.
Oh,
That is
well,
a status protection helm.
in that case, screw your amulets.
Yeah, he doesn't need one of those amulets now. Alright, we've got Procky selling some items and purchasing. And then he'll be running too.
Quick public service announcement, I would recommend not having -1 amulets. I don't know what underflow does in this game, but it's probably a bad.
There's only one instance of underflow I know about. And it kills Lavos.
What do? Just run a lot of water under him and let him flow away?
No, you use a glitch to heal the bit, and it underflows his health and kills him. So you heal him to death.
Well, Luca with a question mark over her head, and Chrono, this isn't good. Taco is not in a good space right now. I think trying to run away maybe, or just ATB waiting.
There he goes. No, he was waiting to cast Flare as soon as the heal went off on Luca. And that'll get him out of it. That is not the character he wanted to be at 1 health.
No, definitely not. Though he's apparently not even trying the Dinotail Strat. As we see Ayla getting healed.
And Procky heading into the Golem fight. And we do see some grinding coming out from Taco. Wants to make sure he's not going to wipe to this last boss here.
Indeed. Yeah, a very good spot here to get a bunch of levels. These enemies drop a massive amount of relatively massive amount of XP and tech points. And they're dropping ethers, which you're never going to say no to either, really. And it's
especially
a very
when you're able to one-shot.
Yeah, and it's a very quick fight to reset. And those ethers, I mean, every 2 battles pays for 1 battle, so half price grinding, yes please.
Alright, sitting at level 27, so he's probably going to grind just a little bit more before he heads for it. He's got the time. He wants to make sure that he's not going to run into trouble later and have to come back and do this.
And you know that the time is going to be pressing on both our runners' minds because they are, relatively speaking, very close to the end at a very, very fantastic pace. So we're going to see them putting out all of the stops here.
Well, especially not knowing where the other person is. I mean, there were different points where they could have made different decisions, and you never would know for sure which way the other guy went.
And I don't think either runner made any bad decision.
No. They just played the numbers different, and it's worked out for both of them in different ways. It would have been a very different race, I was going to say, if Procky had gone Black Omen. If he hadn't gone through Hecarim Cave to find that the item he needed was there, he may have gone a completely different route.
Indeed. And, I mean, whatever happens, unless Lavos is an absolute jerk, both of these runners are going to be faster than I ever could, so...
Alright, we're about to see Procky get that sweet, sweet amulet drop. See if he makes that same decision.
Meanwhile, Taco has decided to go down the stairs instead of back up this time. Well, no amulet farming for Procky, but he does pick up the gold earring and vigil hat, which is better than nothing.
Alright, we see Taco heading down the stairs. I think he's ready.
Yep, shout outs to the red Omnicron there, who decides that actually he can't be bothered to fight your party. And is just gonna yeet some enemies at you, and sort of. He made the right decision.
Alright, Procky hitting the staircase now.
Froggy looking for Frog Squash and coming up empty. Not quite learned it yet, maybe 1 or 2 fights. Let's not forget 80 tech points per fight here, which is a very nice number.
And a lot of experience. You can see Taco, all his members are at level 28 and 29, which I believe he is perfectly comfortable with.
Yeah, especially when you've got experience coming from the Twin Golems as well.
And we are going to see Dinotail Strat. So we talked about Dinotail a while ago, but let's go through it again real quick. So Dinotail is an Ayla tech that does more damage, more physical damage to everyone on the screen. The lower her health is, or actually the more health she's missing. And so we're going to see him knock her down as low as we can get her. And then as long as she outspeeds, she can one-shot all these enemies on this elevator coming up.
Yep, it's worth noting that Frog has a very similar option in Frog Squash, if you can get him to that point, which I think is what Procky was looking for.
Alright, we see Taco grabbing the save point and heading to the lift.
Ooh, getting caught by the fight. That's unfortunate. Still, I'm sure we'll see a rapid exit from this battle. Or not, we're going to see a rapid exit from the enemies instead. So, let's say you're running through the Ocean Palace right now with one of these parties. Where's your main damage coming from the final battle? What sort of things are we going to be seeing a lot of?
So, with Taco's team, we're going to see a lot of Blaze Kick. It depends. Well, it actually depends because if he goes for center bit or left bit strats, I suspect he'll go center. But I'm not 100% sure, so we'll have to see for sure. But for the most part, hitting the main core, he's going to be using Blaze Kick and Frenzy, or not Frenzy, Confuse in the SNES version. And then we'll probably see some Luminaires to help take out the middle bit when everybody's up. With the other team, I think we're going to see Flare, Confuse, and probably Leap Slash, though he may swap Frog out before the end. He might just be using Frog for this section because he saw Frog Squash was coming up. So we'll have to see for sure what he does.
I don't
think
he
we're going to see Frog
switched out because nobody else has levels. So you're seeing the Dinotail Strats in action here. Now you're not going to see it do amazing damage on every enemy. Some have very high defenses. But if you look at there, see the 1400 damage on those bottom fellas? That's why we like Dinotail Strat.
It allows you to one cycle every one of these lift fights, which otherwise can be quite a bother. And the biggest time save is going to be on this last lift fight, where there's scouters of each element.
Well, hang on a minute.
The 3 main elements.
Hang on a minute. It only allows you to one cycle if Luca doesn't do amazing things with the Wonder Shot and do 87 damage.
But yeah, this last battle he's going to go to is going to have 2 scouters of each of the 3 main character elements, and they can't really get hurt by any of the big AoE spells, but Dinotail will take care of them no problem, and that's probably the biggest time save here.
Yep, and even if you look at them and think, well, it's okay, there are no black scouters, I'm going to use shadow magic. Nope. You can sit there and think, alright, well, I'll try using non-elemental stuff like Hypno Wave. Nope. They will counter any magic that is not their element. Kinda rude.
When I did my first run of Jets, I, for some reason, thought the blue ones were shadow magic, and so I queued up 2 nice big shadow magic spells. I had to load that save. Oh, we see the skip from Taco. That is a difficult skip So he's going to try it again on this side. So you try to like kind of bounce off this corner to get into the back, and then you have to hit that corner just right on the way out. And he got both of them. He's in the zone right now.
Yeah, I'm getting better at that one. I can get into the back just fine. I can't get out again, though. So, very well done to see that.
I practiced for like 10 or 15 minutes one night with Procky helping instruct me. And finally it clicked and I had it down. And then I forgot everything. And I've never done it again. But that was incredibly well executed.
Ooh, an elixir from the last chest in the game. That could be very useful in the final battle. Now, if you're watching this and you've never seen the Randomizer before, but you have played the vanilla game, you will remember that you can die to the lava shell coming up and not game over. And that is still the case.
That's true.
If you die to the shell up here, you will simply reappear at the cave. At which point you can take the bucket at the end of time or the epic to 1999. Things you cannot normally do in the Randomizer. They are locked out until that point.
I don't think we'll see either runner trying to do that, but it'll be interesting to see how this goes. So we have now the sequel to Golems, Golems 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo. And I don't think we're going to see a lot of electric or lightning damage, as it were, in this game.
If we do see Charm coming out, because if in doubt, get free loot.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get.
My favourite strategy here with Luca is to drop a Hypno Wave and deal with them one at a time so they can't bully you. And my goodness, is that a Luminaire?
It is.
Shiny. And on Procky's screen now, he's heading down and we are seeing those Frog Squash strats. Just saw Frog's HP get reduced. And there's a rainbow. Called it, Angarel, well done.
There it is.
Nice one.
Normally, Taco is the prophet of the community, where he can tell what items and drops are coming. But now, Angarel has stepped up in Taco's place.
And I call this one out again, because it made me laugh earlier and it's making me laugh now. Our beloved developer, Rest Cecil there, earlier, saying that getting a rainbow in one of these seeds is like winning the lottery. And the game's RNG is just going, hold my beer. It's twice that's happened in runs I've seen today.
We're going to see Ayla taking a brief nap here while the flames burn past her and the lightning flashes by her ears.
Look, she's been a busy girl and she just needs to lie down, okay? She did somehow summon a massive dinosaur tail to deal with all of those fights, so give her a break.
That's true.
Meanwhile, Procky just summoning a gigantic frog. Because why not?
Alright, so we see Procky going down the lift now. And
hold on.
Dual golems.
Those golems had silver studs and rainbows. That's dirty. That is just plain dirty. For those wondering why we're hype about these items, by the way, Rainbow, Chrono's ultimate weapon, lots of damage. Definitely something you want coming up to the final battle. And the Silver Stud, half MP cost. Very tasty.
Alright, we see some equipment management going on Taco's side. Trying to get ready for that final fight.
Yep, predictably, on goes the status protection. Ready for many obstacles to be thrown in his path.
I'm a little surprised he went Ayla with it, but I'm interested to see what he does. Oh, okay. Got the Silver Stud on Ayla. Looks like she might be doing some triple kicking.
Maybe some blaze kicking.
Almost certainly, at least one of them.
And there's
So,
the
for
new,
those who-
the unfortunate new who just gets yeeted off the path.
Well, he shouldn't be standing in the way.
F's in chat for the new, please.
So for those who don't know, silver studs cut your MP usage in half, and so that's going to help Ayla spam her spells even more efficiently without having to refill her magic quite so often. Oh, and we see Procky getting the skip on the switch as well.
Still all to play for, of course. We know how much of a butt the final battle can be. Both skipped for Procky. Nice, that's what you want to see. Just a golem separating our runners.
And Taco entering Lavo's shell.
He's in for a shell of a time.
So that's shell of a run. Almost 3,000 damage coming out from the blaze kick. Taco has 9 minutes for that over-under bet that was taken earlier. Blaze kick is quite the spell to help you get there. Quite the tech. Oh, very close to taking out Ayla and Chrono. But Taco ready for it and watching their health very closely. Immediately switched to items as soon as the spell started.
Indeed. Sure, we're going to be fine getting through this though. I have every faith in Taco.
Got a difficult decision to make there.
And it's very worth noting that while Taco does have 9 minutes on the prediction thing, he still has, from the time of me saying this, about 15 minutes on the world record.
Mm-hmm. He did have to reset there. He took a small gamble and went for some damage. He was hoping it would finish off, so then he it looked like he tried the triple kick just to see if he could finish it. And it must have been a little bit short there, so he's going to have to go into that fight again there.
Yeah, I mean, as we mentioned, you know, Lavos can be a bit of a jerk. But sometimes this final battle is Dark Souls. You just have to keep slamming your head into it until it falls over. Or if you get really unlucky, you have to slam your airship into it.
Very close race now. We've got Procky just finished off double golems. He's probably going to hit that save point and then run out there. Alright, we've got Taco going back into that Lavos shell fight. Hoping it'll go a little bit better this time. And then on Procky's side, we see the double golems get finished. And he's not going to go back for the save point. I think Procky knows he is potentially world record pace, and he has just got to take the risk. So that's the decision he's making. Looks like Taco's being a little more careful with his heals, spending a little bit more time keeping his health high so that he doesn't get one-shot by this huge spell. Still comes very close.
Apologies for that, a little bit of on-the-fly bot editing there.
Oh, you're fine. And we do see Procky changing some gear around. He's trying to get everything in a good spot here.
Yep, gotta get ready. That was a lot of damage for Taco, but hanging in there just.
This can be a really rough fight.
Yes,
He's got the status protection, but he doesn't have, you know, a huge tanky character. He's just getting whittled down little by little.
And now both runners on the lava shell.
And no group healing.
For Taco,
on his
anyway.
Team. Yes. So Procky just caught up, and he's got group healing, which may make this fight a little easier. And it's also on a character where, unlike when you have Robo on your team, and it's a pretty big damage sacrifice to have him healing, with Frog you don't lose that much damage, and so it may be a safer fight here.
Yes, indeed. A lot of the damage is going to come out from Chrono and Luca for Procky.
Ayla's down. He's going to just go for the damage and hope.
Exactly, Brooksley. What a race. Everybody was getting
Oh,
really
there
hyped.
it goes. There's Shell for Taco with that last character at like 200 health.
Yep. Everyone was getting
He
really
knew
hyped
He was close.
all week for this race. We've been looking forward to.
I'd love to see some of, if you have some of our runners' emotes, I'd love to see the spam. I know Taco's got a few and Procky's got a couple, or he has that frog, no frog one.
I don't know if Procky did charm a rainbow out of the golems. Well, no. Procky cannot have charmed a rainbow out of the golems. He doesn't have Ayla in his party.
Frog is not a charming fellow. All right, we see Taco going out to grab gear, I assume, just to make sure he's got consumables.
Unfortunately, Taco doesn't know how close this race is right now, and that might cost him.
I think a big part of the reason Procky didn't go for the save is he saw the pace he was making, and he knew he had to take the chance.
I guess you could say, Moon Blizzard, that you dropped the ball on that one.
All right. See the same grueling fight on the lava shell here. It's going to be some pretty big damage.
No
but he's still
casualties,
safe.
though. No casualties other than the MP pools. All looking very empty.
There's Taco, going to a store. He knows what they have, and he just wants to fill up while he has the chance.
Oh, that's going to hurt. Luca down, and she was the main source of damage for a while there with that wonder shot, but never mind, he gets through it. Oh, that was the skin of the teeth.
Yeah, absolutely. Frog with the winning hit.
Frog the hero. Everybody knows Frog, of course, Procky's favourite character in the whole wide world.
Absolutely. I don't know if Procky would play the game if Frog wasn't in it.
Oh, he's going for it. No dismounts from Lavos for Procky. He's going straight in there. And now the tide has turned. The lead has shifted. And let's see if Procky has what it takes, shall we?
Absolutely.
But first we have the magnificent nipple lasers and arm boomerangs to deal with. Yeah, I should have gotten popcorn for this one.
I got popcorn for last week's race, but not this one. Oh, and our favorite spell in the game coming off on Procky's screen.
Yep. It's always kind of
All
tricky
right.
to eat popcorn and commentate, I find.
Yeah, I bet it would be. That's why I didn't go get any. So with Lavos Phase 2 here, He's a jerk. That's his gimmick.
That's one way to put
it. He has these boomerangs he throws from each of his hands that can do, I think, about a gajillion damage. And they're just going to try to keep everyone healed up until those arms are gone. But look, 400 damage on Chrono. And if those point the wrong direction, there's just nothing you can do about that. But wow, that was incredibly done.
Yep, got the heal off just before the boomerangs. Always what you want to see. As the arms start dissolving. And Taco taking the Route 1 approach into Lavos again. We're going to need a moment of silence for the epic, though, I'm afraid. It's about to go boom.
That's an interesting decision to go that route instead of the bucket.
Right, it is technically a little faster if you do it first time.
Swag strats. This fight on Procky's screen seems to be going pretty well. He did get past to the arms, which is sometimes the hardest bit of it. It's just making sure that you don't get boomeranged.
Yeah, the first part of the second phase here is just a damage blast. You've got to get those arms down. They have, I think, around 5,000-ish HP each.
They have slightly different amounts.
I said ish.
No, sure. I just notice I almost always kill his right arm. So on the left side of the screen before the other arm. And then it's just hitting him in the face until you take him down.
Unless you have Luca and Mal, in which case you're using Antipode 3 and they just die.
Left one has 1,000 less HP, Angarel says.
Good to know.
I tend to trust his judgment.
I normally trust his judgment. He has failed me on an occasion or two, but I've forgiven him for that now.
But I can tell you, Future, the biggest difference between the two bosses on the screen right now is the one Procky's fighting is completely armless. It's no worse than the ones you make.
But if I make the puns, I'm in control of the puns.
That's true. Oh, here we see the frog flares. Frog at pretty low health.
That's
3,400.
And
down
there
goes phase 2.
Yep, a slasher, not the best, but maybe better than what Rocky currently has for Chrono. And here we go. I think I see menu skip in the offing, hopefully, for Rocky. Menu glitch, rather. TG. I'm not sure I know TG Game Boy.
Alright. We are at phase 3.
So, as we mentioned, menu glitch. You hold your menu button when that screen goes black, you can menu.
Yeah, it's got to be right at the close. Like right as it goes completely black, or it will not give it to you. And that's going to let him fully heal before entering this third phase, which is just going to be a lifesaver.
Loath as I am to say it, we have about 3 minutes left on that world record title for Rocky here. I'm not sure he's going to have enough, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're pretty low level.
And commiserations to anyone who said the runners would finish in under 85 minutes. Sadly, you were wrong.
Still an incredible time, though. We don't see runs come this close very often. Even if they don't get it.
Yeah, it is a fantastic time, and anyone who's up against these two in the first round of the upcoming tournament should probably start panicking. I believe, unless it gets randomized before the start of the tournament, I'm currently going to be up against our tracker in the first round. So I'm looking forward to losing. It's been an honor.
I think, if I remember correctly, if it doesn't get randomized, I'm against Moon in the first round, and then the second round would be whoever wins out of these two, and so I am shaking.
Nice!
Not that I think I will get to that far anyway. Moon is very good.
Obviously, we're shouting out a lot of names here of fairly good runners in this community. In Moon Blizzard and Corinth, and of course the ones on screen right now, and some less good runners talking to you.
Oh, are we going to see the frog flare come out?
Ooh, Chrono getting slapped down there.
Yeah, for him to be able to go for frog flare, they've got to have all of them up. Because they got to be able to heal immediately after. He had one revive. He's got to make it count.
Goes the frog flare. 3,500 damage to the right bit, which is of course the main target here. It's a bit of a trap. The central target is not the thing you want to kill.
Uh-oh.
That's
gonna
not
take
good.
him down.
Does have Chrono, has life, so not out of it yet. But if Chrono dies, we have a situation.
Absolutely. Yeah, no revives for him. He knew he was close on time, and he just went for it. I think he knew if he went to do shopping, there was no chance at the world record.
Meanwhile, we have Taco getting a lot of damage in on that Lavos inner heart. Gets through it. Probably going to see another menu glitch coming up right now.
Frog drops again. Chrono coming to the rescue.
The hero we
Very
don't
risky
deserve.
Strat he's going for. We're seeing right now why Frog Flare can be such a risky strat when it comes to this boss especially.
And down goes Frog again. And there goes Chrono. That is very likely a wipe for Frog. And there's the reset.
And he's going to pull the reset. So back and forth, we talked about this earlier, that this final boss can make or break runs. I mean, me and you had a race, a casual race one time where we both came to this section about the same time. And it came down to whichever one of us could play it safe and take the win there.
And there are a number of nasty bosses in this game, especially towards the end game, because we had a race where I got to the twin golems about 15 minutes ahead of you, and we ended this fight at the same time.
I was also, at the time, more efficient at Ocean Palace. But yeah, as soon as we got through twin golems, and then we immediately had some trouble at Lavos.
Yeah, never count a boss out towards the end of this game. For example, there is the boss that is... I don't know if you have this term in the US, but for sports here, we have something called somebody's bogey team, so that the thing that always beats them. Like a bad luck term. For me, that is the Elder Lavos spawn in the Black Omen. Me and him do not see eye to eye.
There may be a word very close to that. I would almost call that my nemesis, or your... there's another phrase. If I think of it, I'll let you know. There's another phrase that kind of means the same thing.
Cultural references, aren't they fun, everybody?
I don't know what you want from me. I already started saying lift instead of elevator.
What?
Even though it goes down.
Do you even elevate a bro?
Really, it should be a delevator.
So, as we are entering the festive period of the year, I know we do have some races still scheduled on the calendar. I think we can probably still look forward to tomorrow night's Final Fantasy 1 Randomizer weekly race. I am not certain about the other two. Time will have to tell for those, I think. Even though they would normally be on Friday and Saturday. Times of which, of course, a lot of our runners are going to be very full of turkey. But we may or may not see the Final Fantasy 4 Free Enterprise weekly race on Friday.
If you look on the left side here, you can see Grandstone, the strongest physical attack of Lavos, and it did a number on his team. And we may... it looked like Taco was trying to decide if he thought Dinotail was the way to go.
No. The answer is no.
Chrono at 1 HP again. Barely staying alive.
Luca down for Taka. It's not good. Not good.
He's going for that left bit. He's got such high physical attack right now. This can be a pretty good route for him to go for.
Oh,
yep.
This is
like
going
Moon
to
said,
be bad.
Invading lights.
When the boss just tells you to slow down.
Luckily he had status protection, I believe.
You may have noticed one of the fun quirks of this game. Chrono is slowed, thus his damage is reduced. Because, go figure. Still not entirely sure of the logic behind that one, but...
Yep, you guys are right, Chrono is slow.
Missing hits on Confuse is also no bueno.
Absolutely.
I think my funniest event was fighting in Alavos, the battle just before this one, and seeing Frog somehow miss a leap slash against something 10 times his size.
I saw an animation for the first time in my run earlier where Robo missed his Robo Tackle because he tripped a few feet into his Robo Tackle and just fell on his face. And I had never noticed that before.
Nice. They did put a lot of thought into these. Yeah, they put a lot of thought into these random little quirks.
Absolutely. The other one that gets me is when you miss with his punch, Robo's punch, and it like the hand just goes past the enemy and disappears, and then he like looks down at his hand like, where'd that go? Looks very confused.
I quite like when Luca and Mal miss with their weapons when they're firing at range as well, because instead of what you would expect, shooting and then the miss thing coming up, no, they shoot in a completely different direction.
Yeah, they have no idea where their target is. Yeah, Grandstone came out on Procky's side now. There's a couple battles there's a couple transitions that Lavos can go in, Lavos 3 can go into, that can give you some trouble. On the left side, we're seeing one as his strongest magic attack comes out on top of it.
So for those who don't know,
the revive ready now.
Ooh, Procky in danger. So for those who don't know how this fight works, your Lavos core friend here will rotate through different periods of time. And depending on what period of time you're on through the time warp, you'll get a different ability.
Taco in trouble, and Procky in a little bit of trouble, but it looks like he may be able to recover it. Taco in a perilous position right now.
Remember, folks, we were saying earlier, anything can happen in these final battles. It can all change. Which, for me, is one of the best things about this randomizer.
Yep, here comes Frog Flare, hitting all three, and they're all three weak on Procky's side. Oh, Invading Light gonna hit first, though.
Here comes Frog Flare, here comes Frog Flare, right down Frog Flare.
No more Frog Flare.
Aww. Why you gotta ruin
Yeah,
it
that
for
was
me?
a good save on Taco's side. Getting that center bit down before Grandstone comes out may have just saved his chances here.
But Cecil, Luca is always slow. It's called having no speed stat.
It's almost 600 damage coming out on Ayla right there. This is, man, Taco is in a rough spot.
This is definitely a juicy finish to a juicy race.
Center bit coming back out on the left side, and on Procky's side, you see major damage coming out.
Ooh.
And there's Frog getting countered.
Yep. Well,
this is
a
close run.
Defensive power restored, so Procky's gonna have to wait a moment to do any more damage. And here we go. Can't be far off now.
Close. No. Procky's got his health in a good position. It's just doing the damage now, keeping the damage going, getting rid of that slow, and just setting everything up to stay as consistently good as it has been so far.
Damage options have been reduced by the fact that you cannot use AoE attacks against a party without the center bit if you want to live.
Yeah. Well,
apparently Procky does not care.
Well, if you've got a good healer or you're close, you're close to the end of the fight, you know who's going to get hit. It's going to be whoever you select the tech with. And I think he's okay. I think he must think he's close enough to be able to finish in a cycle or so here.
Think we're going to see a wonder shot finish?
Very close.
I hope we see a wonder shot finish. Wonder shot is the best weapon. Do it for me, Procky, if you can feel my spirit reaching out to you.
I always liked on the, not to get too on a tangent, but there's the reset from Taco.
You hate to see it.
But on the DS version, they added a new super weapon for each character, and Luca's is kind of Robo has a weapon that's based off the last digit of his health value, and with Luca's, it's based off the last digit of her magic. And I always thought that was an interesting weapon in that game.
I think I'd rather have the Crisis up. Well, let's see. Is this enough for Procky? No, not yet.
Very close, though. It's going to be any one of these cycles is going to finish it.
It has to be close now.
I think he's going to... My money is going to be on his next cycle is going to finish.
Still sad we're not seeing the wonder shot. Still not down. And defense
back
power.
up.
Yep, that's bad. Just got to go through this whole palaver again of taking out one of the parts.
Not necessarily. The defense is still down on that right bit, I believe. I think it went back down for... Oh, no, it didn't. You're right.
Lavos Core is defended!
It went up just before. Oh, and...
Oh, no. No.
Yeah, Luca not knowing who to shoot for sure.
Thank you, Lavos Bit. You may have just saved someone if Luca has that wonder shot. That would have hurt.
Yes, it would have. A wonder shot for 400.
You're not going to say no to that at this point.
Bit.
playing the low MP game, just trying to get in as much damage as he can with those auto attacks.
Half health on that frog.
Honestly, possibly the best thing that could have happened there, I think.
Yeah, that can definitely be helpful with Frog or Ayla in the right position. But not when that happens. You hate to see it.
There are revives. He has the option.
Yeah, and I think he's trying to decide.
I don't think Chrono's deciding anything right now.
No. There goes left bit. So the question is, does he think he is far enough in this fight that he can finish
No,
right bit,
you can't.
or does he play it safe?
Oh. And I think that's probably going to be a wipe for Brock. Yeah, that's unpleasant.
Wow. This is a rough end to this run.
Back and forwards goes the lead. It is a rough final battle, don't get me wrong. But this is exactly what you want to see in a race like this. You just want to see them going for it and going for it and going for it and being so tight and so close.
Absolutely.
It's a great race for the neutrals.
This is the point in the run where I slow down the battle timer, but
I slow down the battle timer before the first attempt because I am a massive coward. I'm a big cowardy chicken. Yeah, it was. I think that's part of the problem though, because it was such a fast seed with such an early go mode that, yeah, maybe our runs are a little underprepared. They don't have their ideal teams. At least I seriously hope they don't have their ideal team. Because if anyone's ideal team here includes Chrono or Frog, something's gone wrong.
Back at this phase 2, same strat is going to apply. Just seeing them try to take out those arms before they cause too many shenanigans.
So here's the question. If you're Procky right now, how much are you regretting not going through the Black Omen instead?
I don't think he would be. Because I think there's parts of the Black Omen that would have been just as difficult or very close.
I'm not so sure. Good single target damage, good multi-target damage with this party. I think you'd have been okay in the Black Omen.
I think you'd get through it, but I don't think it would be terribly fast.
Alright, Inner Lavos down again for Taco.
Rocky getting a few more cycles in.
If you can get through the Elder Spawn, but you do have access to things like Fire Sword 2.
Yeah, I definitely think you would have had less trouble with Zeal 2 than Lavos. I don't know that you would have less trouble with Ocean Palace than Lavos.
Oh, hold on. We are going to be very, very tight going into this core fight.
Yeah, we are.
One fade out as one fades in. And the battle speed goes down for Taco. I think the sensible play there.
Absolutely. I don't blame him at all there.
Sometimes you do just have to go with the slower but safer strategy.
Absolutely. And it's not that huge of a difference either. Alright, just refilling all the magic points on Procky's side. And we're going to be going back into this same fight here. Got the triple kick. We're going left bit strats. Now, where are you on the left versus center? I know it's pretty team dependent, but is it
Always
one you
left.
tend to go for?
I will always try and take left, because I will usually be relying on my multi-target attack.
Fair enough. I usually go center just because I've had more issues. Like, that's where all his damage comes from. But they are both valid and both incredibly useful with different teams, so...
Well, we are seeing the differences here. Left bit from Taco, center bit from Rocky.
Typically, center bit is going to be a little safer as far as damage you take goes, as long as you're careful of when you're hitting AoEs. Yeah, that Corinth brings up a good point. That's what I used to go for a lot. And if I'm too low level, I won't go for it. But if I'm feeling pretty strong, I will go for the left bit first, and then while the defense is down, hit with AoEs. Try to take out that center bit before the left bit respawns, or around the same time, and that way I just get constant damage on that right bit. But it depends a lot on your equipment and your characters and what you can do, what level you are.
Indeed.
Alright, we see center bit down on the right side, we see left bit down on the left side.
And we see Luca down on the right side. That shield did not keep Luca up. Not even slightly.
See left bit coming back up on Taco's side. This is going to be a close race here. Heal coming up from Frog, just taking the chance to be a little safe. Like I said earlier, you're not giving up that much damage. Unless you're Frog flaring with Frog, so safer to just keep everyone at good health.
Yeah, definitely.
On the left side, Taco running into some trouble, but trying to bring everything back up here.
I mean, especially with Procky's party comp right now, I would be healing every opportunity I get with Frog, and just relying on the other two to do all the damage.
Absolutely.
It's going to be slower, but it's going to be safer. And at this point, all you really want to do is finish, I think. They've been here for over half an hour now in this final battle.
I think we've all been there several times in this final battle. Like you said, it can really be a bother.
It is the great leveler, the great decider. And a massive butt.
I said it earlier, I'll say it again. Lavos is a jerk.
He just hates fun, that's all it is.
There's something about him I don't like.
But if you're sat there watching this run and you're thinking perseverance, and you're loving seeing the perseverance and everybody keeping trying, give these runners a follow.
Absolutely. Corinth bringing up a great point. Both of these runners are looking at each other, or looking at themselves and saying, any second he's going to finish the run. He's got to be right there. And man, is it close.
Oh, I'm not sure about that second link. Juzal? Joyzel? That one of those is going to be correct. I mean, if you're desperate for people to watch, I suppose you could follow us. I think you'd have to be really desperate to watch some of my pleb tier runs, though.
Well, don't say that. You consistently beat my times. I've been playing around with a lot of different categories here lately. Just trying new things and seeing which ones I have the most fun playing, so...
Are you sure you're not just making up new categories so you always get PBs?
Oh, I did that once. I did do that once. And I did get a PB on it, so
Ooh, that was a lot of damage on Luca right there.
Yeah, it was. It is most unfortunate. Just trying to get her healed up before it matters. Man, this is a close fight. On the left side, we have Millennial Fair. Or we had Millennial Fair. Oh, we've got it on the right, too. And that can be troublesome. Well, Cinderbit's gone on Procky's side. But that can inflict random status ailments, which can really be trouble.
But unfortunately, Lava's Core is not as good a singer as Gato.
That's true. See the Dinotail. Are we going to see it?
I think this is a suicidal strategy here. I don't like this. This is doing me an anxiety. 74 damage.
Oh.
Although it took out the left bit, but here's the statuses, and I think that is probably...
Depends how... Oh!
Ooh, Chrono. My man.
I think Procky may have time here soon. He's going for it. He's all in. Got good health values. His magic points are a little low on Chrono. Just trying to hit as hard as he can. And if he's been keeping track of the damage, he may just go for the damage here and try to finish it, even though this Cinderbit's returned.
Though we do know how that worked out last time, so let's hope he isn't being scared of that approach.
Oh, he's going for the flare.
The flare here isn't a massive risk because you're not going to get that counter from the left bit.
Correct. Yeah. Cecil bringing up a great point of AoE's being open for business again now that Cinderbit's back. He's going for it. He must know he's close. I think it's going to be coming up. Taco also able to save that, which was very close to being very bad.
And down goes Lavos.
Oh, good, a flea vest. What a close race. Getting another... That was a very close race, all the way to the end.
Whew. That was an anxiety maker. Right then.
Oh, I typed the wrong command. Yeah, so if anybody has been watching this and they're interested in checking it out, of course, there's a link to the download and the Discord. There's a bunch of people in the community that are willing to help you get started, get on your feet, get through your first few runs, because that's sometimes the trickiest part, is just getting through a few runs, and there are plenty of people in the community that will help you with that. So if you're on the fence, do it. It's a great community of people.
Well, when he deigns to undeafen himself, we have with us right now our winner of the night, the victor of the Clash of the Titans, the one, the only, it's Procky! GG!
Hello, everybody!
Hey, Procky.
Wow.
And down goes your volume. Wow. Wow is all we can say about that, just wow.
I was on pace for a PB, and then Seed said no.
You want to know the funniest thing here, Procky? You got to the Lavos fight about 10 minutes after Taco.
Oh my goodness. That's not surprising.
Yeah. You both had a hell of a time.
A shell of a time, I think we said.
Well, no, because Procky first time for the shell.
Well, that's true.
It was the rest that was the problem.
One question we had for you. Oh, and there's the finish for Taco. One question we had for you. So there was a moment where you knew where both parts of the other Go mode were for Black Omen. You knew the clone was available and then you pulled the Chrono Trigger, and then you went and did Hecarim. Was that just for XP, and then you happened to get what you needed for this go mode, or were you looking for that?
Yeah, it was. There was a little bit of frustration in that, and I knew Hecarim would be quick, so I rushed through it. So I wasn't really picking up any XP or TP in there, and I just got lucky. What can I say?
It was
So,
a fantastic race.
Because I knew, I just had a feeling that Taco would have already got that, and maybe he was ahead of me. So if I did Black Omen at that point, I would have been falling behind. So I thought 1 or 2 quick checks, try and find the ruby knife, and it paid off. So good gamble this time.
Yeah, absolutely. The other question thing I wanted to ask you about was right after double golems. It didn't look like you even thought about going back to the save point. Were you just on PB pace and you knew you had to risk it?
Oh, right. Again, it was because I thought Taco would probably be ahead of me, just because of the way the key items came. And I kind of went off on a tangent. I did something a little untraditional. Usually you check Denadoro, you check Hecarim early. But since I had gate key, I kind of blasted ahead to Nizbel. And so I just thought, hey, Taco's probably ahead of me, so I'm going to try and get every little edge I can. So instead of saving after Golem Twins, you can do a menu glitch and pray.
So the question that has to be asked here. Your party setup for that run. We know that Frog's your favourite character, so why were you using Chrono?
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Normally, I always use Frog, but I never use Luca.
Of course.
So yeah, it was just funny.
What was going through your head to make you choose those characters then?
Yeah, no, when I had Frog to start and Luca came with Wondershot, I knew I could use Line Bomb for one, and I knew Frog Flare would come in handy later. It wasn't as handy as I wanted it to be, but as you saw, I had to refight like Lavos 3 times there, and Frog Flare was 3-hitting the first Lavos fight. So Frog Flare is very strong.
It is.
Yeah, it got you in trouble a couple times too, it looked like, but I don't blame you for going for it at all.
Can be a difficult thing to manage. Yep.
Anyway, congratulations again on a good run and a good win tonight. We are going to ask you to move along if that's okay, so we can get Taco in for a few final words as well. But did you enjoy yourself, as the last thing? More importantly than anything else, did you have fun?
Wonderful. Wonderful race, wonderful seed. Thank you so much to everyone who's watching and everyone who's helping, and especially my arch nemesis, Taco Hero.
Awesome. Then Procky, GG again, and thank you very much for coming in tonight.
Thank you, Future.
Have a good night, Procky.
Good night, Cthulhu. Good night, Corinth. Thank you all.
Okay, and we're going to try and get Taco in now. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear, and I'm going to have to mute his stream audio, otherwise this is going to get messy.
Hello.
Hey, Taco.
Hello.
GG?
Oh. Yeah, oh god, that Lavos fight.
It
was like a cat scraping for life that entire time.
That looked rough. That looked rough, but I don't know that there was anything you could have done at that point.
Nah, I mean, I was being greedy and going in lower level. I mean, I did do some grinding, like at Reptite and then at an Ocean Palace, but for having no healers and no lapises, wait, no, I had 1 lapis. Just that was rough to do.
It looked like a pretty vicious fight. You were ahead by, I'd say, a good 5 or so minutes at the twin golems and going into that Lavos fight. So it just shows everybody who is watching just how brutal a final battle can be.
Yeah. And I think that's normally what happens with me and Procky is I think he usually takes more time to... He's more well prepared, whereas I'm just rushing in head first to see if I can just get it done as fast as possible. And, you know, sometimes it works and you get a really great time, and sometimes you wipe at Lavos 3 times.
It's happened to all of us.
So one thing you might find interesting is a member of Procky's team for most of that run.
Was he using Frog?
Yep.
He was using Frog.
So the first time I wiped, I thought about going back and checking to see if Frog had heal, just to have a heal bot.
Absolutely.
Throw gold
I
earring
wouldn't
on
blame
him,
you at
throw
all.
all the defensive items on him just so that he has the best chance of staying alive, and then just making him a heal bot for Ayla and Luca.
So
So-
one question I had for you was Xenon Bridge. You went back to it later on in the run, and it ended up
Yeah.
having part of Go mode. How thankful were you when you decided to go back there and found that it held that?
Well, you know, at that point, I was kind of hoping for Pendant, because I knew where the clone was. I had Chrono Trigger. I just needed that to go to Omen. And I was like, oh, Omen's fast. Omen's fast once I get that going. I can do this. I forgot to start my timer, so I don't know what time I hit Go mode, but I was like, oh, wow, this is like hour and a half, hour 40 pace.
Yeah,
you
it
were
was
at like
beautiful.
50 minutes, I think, when you got Go mode.
Okay, yeah. But it felt like it was going at a really, really fast pace.
It
I
was.
like,
As it happens, you were actually, you were on pace to break the record for a long time. If you'd beaten Lavos first time, there would be a new world record right now.
yeah, I know. I lost a ton of time because then I had to go stop and go shop at the new stop for more items, and wiped at Lavos and had to redo that cutscene a couple of times too. So I was like, I lost a lot of time on that.
One thing that was interesting that you didn't get to see from your point of view was we just talked to Procky about it for a second, but Procky got he got everything except the pendant, and he went and did Hecarim Cave. Or no, he got the pendant. He went and did Hecarim Cave, I think, just to look for another key item or get some XP, and happened to find the other Go mode. Otherwise, he was gonna go through Black Omen.
Was Pendant on Denadoro?
I think pendant
Was it
desert.
Oh,
Yeah,
wait,
he
so
went and
he
got
went-
Robo from
So he went to
Dactyl.
Dactyl Nest and then went to Desert.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he found the
Wow.
pendant, and then he thought about going for it, but he checked that one other place, and it was lucky.
Yeah. I was kind of losing my mind when Wonder Shot was on Yakra, and then I charmed the rainbow off of the twin golems. And I was like, oh my god, I'm getting all my team's ultimate weapons here.
We did see some wonderful Wonder Shot action there. I distinctly remember seeing an 87 damage shot. Wonder Shot
I
doing
think there was
work.
a time I did 2 attacks in a row of 85.
Anyway, Taco, we're gonna call it to a close there, if that's okay. Just want to thank you again very much for racing tonight, and wish you GG's on a finished run. A very, very close, very tight race. So good job.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
really good.
really
GG
great
Rocky.
race. There were a lot of bosses you
Taco.
guys were looking at the same time, so that was great.
Do you have any last words, either of you, for the viewers at home?
Well,
Look
I hope
forward to
you
next
really
Sunday.
enjoyed the race. We got a lot of stuff in the works to continue with improving the jets and making it more fun and more inviting for more people. So if you enjoyed it, come join us on Discord and have a go at it yourself.
Absolutely. I
All
don't
right.
think there's better advice than that.
Well, thank you both for coming in and joining us for this quick post-match interview. We're just gonna tidy up and finish up here on the stream.
Good night, everyone.
See you later.
So, what a race. What a race.
Absolutely.
And
That was I wasn't sure who was going to win that at almost any point of that.
And if you want to see more races like that, remember we are going to be here hopefully every Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, with more of this wonderful Jets of Time action. So definitely mark it on your calendars. Come along, stick around, and enjoy the fun. One last call out: if you have enjoyed tonight, feel free to follow our runners and our tech crew if you are that way inclined. And don't forget to check back here tomorrow night at 1 second. At that time on your screen, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, if you wish to come and watch the wonderful, amazing Final Fantasy Randomizer weekly race. But for now, everybody, thank you very much for coming along and watching tonight. Any closing words, Cthulhu?
I mean, I'm just as blown away as you are how close that was, and I can't wait to see what race we have next week.
Alrighty, so I think from me and from Cthulhu and from Corinth, our silent but deadly tracker over there, thank you very much for watching, everybody. And we'll see you next week. Bye bye.